Hello, everybody. It's Tuesday. That's New Comic Book Day around these parts. Well, for us,
Mhm.
we're most comics they're going to release tomorrow, but we're going to talk about them today. So we're really excited. I'm Aaron. This is Abby here at Fantasy Books
Hello.
and Games, and those of you that have watched the stream before, you know that I always like to start with facsimile reprints of really, really, really old comics because I'm a really, really old person. And today I am blessed with count them, three facsimile issues that are coming out tomorrow. And we won't necessarily dwell on them too much, but I do. There's a lot of them are worth mentioning for a variety of reasons. First up, we have DC has put out the Green Lantern number 59. You might not be able to tell from the cover. This is the first appearance of Guy Gardner. This is before he got his doofy haircut. He just had like a normal guy haircut. But this is a classic 1968 issue with art by the great Gil Kane. And I've talked before, and I will never stop talking about how great DC's quality of their reprints are. They're just so good. The paper, like I can't stop talking about it. It's just like having the original issue. Like it's actually like having the original issue, not like just a reprint. It like really is like truly the definition of facsimile. So I really love the quality of DC's facsimiles. On that note, also coming out tomorrow is a Marvel facsimile, and I will just say I'm happy that Marvel is making facsimiles, but I'm not going to gush about the quality of them. This is Captain America number 117, and this is the first appearance of Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon. This is from 19. I can't remember when this came out. It was probably also 68, 69, somewhere in there. But has art by the great Gene Colan and written by Stan Lee. So yeah, another just like Silver Age superhero stuff. Silver Age Marvel especially, I really really like. Yeah, so very very excited for that one. Abby, have you read it? Do you read any of the facsimiles ever? You don't. This girl just doesn't appreciate
I
history.
picked up the Doom Patrol one from last year, and
Yeah,
I still haven't read
you
it.
still haven't read it? Oh,
It's
that
in
one is
there.
so good.
But
Well,
I pick up anything that has Doom Patrol on it,
fair.
so
That's fair.
I did do that.
There is one other facsimile. There's a Dark Horse facsimile coming out tomorrow. And I'm so used to when I talk about these facsimiles, it's always like the same ones, like Marvel's reprinting Secret Wars and Spider-Man, and DC's reprinting Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I kind of get tired of just talking about that over and over again. So I'm really excited. There's a really cool, new, and different facsimile coming out tomorrow. That is Betty of Archie fame. This is a 1993 issue of Betty, and it has this wonderfully racy cover by Don Giancarlo. And this is from '93, like I said, so it's not like a super old issue, but it is kind of a famous issue just because there was a period where they were just putting out these really great covers. Archie's not really known for like putting the boundaries in any way, but like these covers were, I'm pretty sure they were considered a little racy. I'll tell you this much: my parents would not have supported me buying these covers. So yeah, this is other than that, like I think the cover is the biggest reason that it's reprinted. Other than that, it's just a classic Archie story, or I should say a Betty's focus story. But Archie and the gang are still in it, of course. Uh, but yeah, just look at that beautiful cover. That is just so great. So yes, how fortunate. Something wonky is going on. Maybe it's just you. What is wonky? Is it we had some technical difficulties last week, and I thought we had like solved most of them. Yeah, fixed it. If something is wonky, I guess just sound off in the chat.
My voice is distorted.
My voice is distorted. Well, we're still working on our sound. That's the one thing we didn't get fixed. I'm maybe a little further away from the microphone. Let's let Abby do some talking, and
Yes.
we'll see how she sounds. What do you have coming out tomorrow, Abby?
I have Pet Pool Party, which is one of if you ever read the It's Jeff stories, then this is kind of like how Marvel does the Meow story as well, where they focus on Marvel pets. and Marvel Animals. So this one is all about Deadpool and his little gang. So we got Dogpool before the movie came out. It was just a normal Dogpool. We got Catpool and Mousepool.
Eddie too. Well, we're just gonna have to power through it. I'm sorry.
Your ears will hurt. We do have a surprise appearance from Dogpool from the movie, and there's even a joke about it being in the MCU. But this is just one of those fun multi-stories where you got some shenanigans with the pups, but it involves Deadpool and all the gang. So that is a little mention that's coming out. So if you want some little fun humor, pick up Petpool.
Marvel never stops with the Deadpool comics.
They don't, and they don't stop with the pet comics because they know people are going to buy them.
That's true. That is like definitely a thing. Turn it off and turn it back on. Well, we're flying by the seat of our pants here now. That's not an option anymore.
Our technical manager went home.
That's right. That's all right. We'll just blast through these. It's not really about listening to us as much as it's about looking. As much as it's about looking at the great comics. What's another one you got?
Let's do this one. Another Marvel one. It is Laura Kinney, Wolverine. Her first standalone issues in a little bit. But I love how they're doing a lot of one-shots with the Marvel X-Men women. We've had Psylocke. We're going to get a Magic one. Now we have Laura Kinney. She is appearing frequently in the Nyx series, if you want more of her. This is her standalone series where she's just kind of being a bounty hunter, but for the right cause, where she's trying to protect mutants and all of that. I really enjoyed it, mostly because I like the Marvel women. And so that's why I really enjoyed this issue. She's just a badass, and it's just a fun issue.
Very, sorry, I was distracted by the comments, Ames. So just to answer your question, we are using the computer mic, so I'm not really sure, what else we can do with that. But I take it you can hear us. It's just distorted. Am I correct in that assumption? I don't know. Like I said, we don't have much options other than to just power through it. I guess this, thankfully, it's a big move from Susie. Thankfully, the next couple of books I'm going to show off, I don't really want to talk about too much, because I talk about them all the time. Of course, Super Robotic, how appropriate, because we're going to talk about Transformers. More than meets the eye. I actually don't, I haven't read this issue yet. I'm just throwing it out there to say I love this comic, and I'm really glad that it's coming out. Beep boop. Also coming out tomorrow, one of my regular reads is KL. You guys know, also has robots in it. I don't know, I didn't prep this. Hey, me singing Transformers actually worked. Good. So there are also monsters and robots in KL, so that one is really good. Also coming out, so I don't think we get to talk about this that much last week, but we didn't get our full Diamond shipment in. So this week is actually a really huge week because we got extra stuff that was coming from Diamond distributors this week. So there's 2 Conan series coming out. There's the regular Conan, the Barbarian series, and also the Battle of Blackstone crossover. And they're both great series. You've heard me talk about them a lot. The Battle of Blackstone, this is the conclusion to the whole epic crossover. And I have to say, I was very, very happy with it. It's really, really good. And that's somebody who will complain endlessly about how much he hates crossovers. I normally don't like crossovers, but somehow, some way, Conan Junzo managed to make it work for Conan. So I'm just so impressed and so happy with that. All right, what's something else briefly you want to show off, Ed?
Let's talk about Doll Parts, which if you've ever read Lovesick, this is, I believe, a prequel to it. Myself, I just read the first issue of Lovesick and absolutely loved it. I am your horror thriller reader, so I loved all this. This is just talking about, I think, her beginning. I have to be a little careful showing off certain pages. But it just follows her and her family, kind of dysfunctional, and then a murder takes place in town. It's just a little cute. I say cute, but there's kind of a bit of gore in it. storyline for this, and it is going to be a series. This is not a one-shot. So if you love Plastic, here's the prequel. Just how like Dolls had the Plastic Death and Dolls, which was a prequel to, I believe, a series called Plastic.
Yes, that is
correct. That also came out recently, so I like that they're doing this for those kind of gory series. They're doing prequels for it.
Cool. Another book coming out just on the subject of like horror stuff and one-shots, which I know that wasn't, but
Oh, you're good.
EC Comics is putting out a holiday-themed horror comic, Shiver suspense stories, and I haven't really been following a lot of the EC books, but I'm happy that they exist. Each issue usually has at least one story by a creator that I really like. This one does have a story written by Jason Aaron, who's really good. I think the one I like interested in the most is there it is. This is a story that is written by Jay Stevens and illustrated by David Lapham, who's one of my favorite comic book creators. The sound is crazy, huh? Yeah, that's wild. I don't know what happened with that, but something tells me that we will have the sound fixed for next week's episode, for sure. It's December. It's a magical time of year. What else you got here, Ebs?
So a DC series that's coming out, I know we've been talking about Marvel and Indies, is Batman Dark Patterns. This takes place in year 1, and it is basically his first serial killer case. And I love the art for it. It's giving me the Batman and Robin vibes, but maybe a bit more serious. I don't know. But it is taking place, there's been murders, as you can see on this page, and he's still working with Jim Gordon and the detectives, but he's still trying to find his place in Gotham, and this is his first detective case. So I really loved it because I love Batman Classic Detective, and I just am excited that he's taking down serial killers as well. And it was a really great read. I enjoyed it so much.
Try selecting. I think we're gonna do some live on air things. Option for live mic. Double click to open. Different audio source. There it is. Yeah. Let's see if this works better. Okay. Does that sound better? You can sound off in the chat and see if that works. But yeah, so hey, we did it. Okay. Well, that's good because we thankfully the previous books we didn't really have a lot to say, but much better. That's good. I'm a little disappointed because I really like the idea of sounding like a robot, but I guess we can do things correctly. Yes, fixed. Okay, hooray! You have something else you want to talk about, Abby?
I am all about indies here. So here is another one. It's called In Bloom. If you had read The Creeping Below a few weeks ago, this is giving the same vibes, but it's a different storyline, even though it seems like it. Here is a storyline about how the world has evolved. They've accepted a part of the interior composition, and now you can evolve, which just means that you grow mushrooms now in different places. But guess what? There's murder. So people are murdering these evolved, advanced kind of species, and they're just trying to figure it out. And I'm all about this.
It's basically just like a detective murder mystery, but
with plants and mushrooms.
With this weird setting. I like this art a lot.
It's kind of
very different.
It reminds me of the Infernals. Did you read that at all?
I did not read the Infernals.
They have the same kind of vibe as being realistic, but still have an artsy vibe to it. But something is not all that it appears, as you can see on this final page. And it cuts off before I feel like you get the full effect of the first issue. But I still really enjoyed it since it involves the detective stories with serial killers and all of that. I do enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, it looks really good. I didn't get a chance to read it, so I'm glad that you did. One other book that's coming out tomorrow I want to make special mention of is The Mini Marvels by Chris, I think it's pronounced Giarrusso.
I apologize to old Chris. I actually met him at a convention once and asked him how to pronounce his name, and I have since forgotten what he told me. But this is a fun comic. These were he used to have these strips, I remember, that would run in Marvel Comics, like back in the late '90s, early 2000s, and he would do these mini Marvels where it was just kind of the Marvel characters, but kind of like as if they were kids, and it's like a little cutesy. It's more like like a comic strip format, like that you would read in the newspaper. But you might recognize his art. Susie, you might recognize his art because he's been doing a lot of variant covers, and he does this variant cover that comes out tomorrow for X-Men #7, and this obviously is the homage to the classic Jim Lee X-Men #1 connecting covers, and now he's doing all these connecting covers but in his own style, which I think is pretty cool. He also did some for no, it's just you have to buy every issue to connect the 5 covers. It doesn't pull out.
Sad.
But he did I think last month he did the Venom War. He did like a bunch of Venom War covers like in his style. But apart from just having a fun style, he also is a really funny cartoonist and writes a lot of fun strips. So I have a few issues of these from, I hate back in the day, old, I know, probably from before Abby was born. And I do really recommend them. They're really, really good. It's good stuff. Okay, what else you got, Abs?
On the track of serial killers, I got a trade that is coming out this week. This is the Six Fingers and One Hand series that came out as 2 separate series.
Right.
And you had to read them both to get the storyline from both perspectives.
That's
right. There's information in one that wasn't in the other. So it's a pretty thick one, as you can see.
Yeah, it's like a 12-issue series, right?
Yeah,
or with the
both
2.
of them.
So
yeah.
I appreciate like a good like a unique presentation, but I have to admit I kind of just didn't read that series because it was like awkwardly numbered, and I just was like, if it was just 12 issues, I would just know in what order to read it all. But I also get that's kind of the point.
It is.
So
but
how's it presented in the book? Is it presented like
So they were alternating weeks on when they came out. So for 1 week you would have like the One Hand, for 1 week you'd have the Six Fingers. The One Hand is talking about the detective who is solving this, and the Six Fingers is talking about the perpetrator. So you get from both perspectives as these cogs is what they call them are being murdered, and they are conspiracy theories and all that. But it is a really cool concept. I love the interior art. It's usually very colorful, and there's some risque parts as well. So I have to
be
pass
careful.
them. But there's the living in a futuristic world with robotics being humans and having AI, sentientism. Still, radiation is a problem because that's why he has 6 fingers.
Okay.
Is he had radiation poison and got changed. And so then there's just this whole thing of there's an under network connecting it. It's very interesting, and I loved that you got it from both perspectives. So yeah, that's the trade coming out. So it is really, as you can tell, I have a lot of serial killer books.
I was gonna say, is there something we should know about you, Abby?
Yes.
You like a lot of murders, don't you?
Yes.
Noted.
I don't like to do them. I'll solve them.
Okay.
I don't want to do them.
Okay. I'm glad you made that clarification because we are live on camera right now.
It's gonna
I don't
bite
want to
me in
get
the butt
rated.
later.
Probably. All right. We've got a few issues that I could talk about maybe in a little bit more depth. I think there's a couple of number ones. Actually, all 3 of these books technically are number ones I'm going to talk about. First up is Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man #1. Now, it's tough for me to read and hey, Alex, well, better late than never. I'm glad you're here. We're just about to talk about a new Spider-Man book, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And if you've watched this stream before, you know that I'm kind of like a jilted Spider-Man fan. It's just so hard for me to read Spider-Man comics these days. I've read a lot of Spider-Man comics in my youth in the long ago, and these days it's like Spider-Man books are almost unrecognizable to me. But this book, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, this is as you can see on the cover, it's the official prequel to the upcoming Disney Plus series. So I thought maybe I'll just take a look and see kind of what's going on with this. It's got kind of like a funky costume design here, but if it's like if it's a new, it's like a year one kind of a thing. So it's like it's supposed to be like the homemade version of the costume. I can appreciate that. And also, it's written by Christos Gage, who is a writer who's written a lot of stuff that I really like. But he's also written a lot of like kids tie-in books that I respect, although they're not for me, so I don't really care. Like he did all the Fortnite crossover books, like Batman Fortnite and Marvel Fortnite. I know. I couldn't even tell you if those books are good because I did not read them because I do not care about Fortnite. But they were very popular, and I trust that they were probably good enough for what they needed to be because Christos Gage is a good writer. There's a new Spider-Man series coming out. Apparently so. Yeah, this is actually the first I'm hearing of it.
Really?
But yeah, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I don't know nothing about it.
Well, the comic series has been
so I know
promoted.
I know that there's a Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man comic book series, but I wasn't sure if that was related to this or not because this says it's a prequel to the TV show, to the animated series. And Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is a title that Marvel has used several times for like different Spider-Man books.
Yeah.
It's a Disney Plus animated show. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So anyway, I decided to read this. It's an issue 1. It's a prequel to a new series. So I thought I'd take a look at it. And I was actually kind of lost throughout most of it. It's really weird. I don't like to nitpick. You know, you might not believe me when I say that, but it's like really weird that it's the prequel to the Disney show, but then it takes place after the first episode. So like which is it? It can't be a prequel if it takes place after the series starts. Like that doesn't like my brain, I'm very pedantic and I just can't allow that. It's just not right. So it really bothers me that it's a prequel, but it's takes place at the same time as the first episode, I think. So there's a lot of stuff in here that I was I'm reading it and I was like, am I supposed to know this from a different series or not? Like, was there previously a different Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man series? I think it looks good enough. The art is nice. It's a little more stylized and also full than the standard Marvel comic, I think. So
it's a lot of speech bubbles.
There's a lot of talking, which I was a little surprised by, since presumably this is a book for kids. But there is a lot of talking, and this first issue is basically just the story of Peter discovering that he's Spider-Man. But there's some other shenanigans going. There was something that happened at the school, and as you can see, there's a little notation box. It says, "See the first episode of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man." So, hit the wrong button there. That's why I was so just surprised. I was so shocked. I was just it can't be a prequel if it takes place after. Okay, I don't have anything else to say about it. It was fine, but I'm probably not going to read any more of it. I might watch the show though, because I do love Spider-Man, and I like that they at least have this is a nice looking cover. I like that he's got the classic.
Really nice. I really liked it, and I was kind of expecting I shouldn't in the comic industry for the rest of the art to look like it, and I would have read it if it did.
Yeah, I would have appreciated it more if the art had more, because this cover, just looking at this cover,
it's really nice.
I don't know who did the cover, but it has that classic John Romita Sr. vibe, but obviously that's very purposely done with the retro. This is kind of a little bit of an homage to a classic Romita cover. But it's the modern Spider-Man with the classic Spider-Man in the back. I like it. It looks really, really good. But like I said, it was not as easy to follow as I assumed it would be. I thought for sure this would be something that's designed for little kids to just jump into and just read a Spider-Man story. But it's weirdly specifically tied into the series. So okay, what do you got, Abby? I'm done. I don't want to keep. I'm rambling now.
So I also love distilleries, and
yeah, Distillery, the new indie publisher.
So there are 3 that come out this week,
Mm-hmm.
and I tried to get into the other one, but I didn't get it. I didn't like the vibes for it. But this one I love because it follows an assassin who has this weird organization behind her, but she's kind of fun and quirky. This is her here. And it
That
just,
art is really good.
I love the art. It is so colorful and bright. Here's her weird handler right here. But she meets this woman who's kind of down on her luck, and they kind of start hanging out, and there's a lot of mystery of why they won't commit to a relationship. But I absolutely love it. I do have to be careful on the later issues. But it's just so colorful, especially the fight scenes. I just love.
The colors are great. Like that you're really selling me on it with the art alone.
Yes.
Like it just looks really good. Who's the artist on that?
I need to
The
get
front
better.
credits.
Yep.
Elsa
Carretier.
Carretier? Yeah. Elsa. Good
We'll
old.
go with
It's
that.
great. Well, she's killing it. It's a great looking book.
Yeah. I love distilleries because mostly they're about horror,
Mhm.
paranormal, like Spectrograph that's out that
Yeah.
I'll never stop promoting because it's done by the same person as the Two-Face comic,
Mhm.
as well as the Batman City of Madness, which keeps flying off the shelf, by the way. I've sold
Mhm.
another copy since the last video,
Hey.
and it is just amazing. I love Distillery a lot, and
Yeah.
people need to get more, like, try it more.
I like
because-
that they do. It's just a lot of genre fiction that's anything but superhero, basically.
Yeah.
And it's all top industry creators just getting to make comics that's anything but superheroes. And there's a lot of good stuff in there.
And people just don't like it because it is an oversized comic and they have to store it differently.
Yeah, it's a little
But
prestige
It's
magazine
so
size.
Good.
It's good
They're
stuff.
so good.
Yeah.
All right, what else? You got?
I like to talk about Superman a lot. And so we have the Superwoman special. And this has been an interesting thing. I think I talked about this. It gives A24 of comics published. You know what? That's like exactly it. It's like the A24 of comics is. That's what Distillery is.
Oh.
A24 is a film studio. They make a lot of movies like that are art house, like smarty pants movies. But Distillery is kind of like it is a little bit like that. But we're going to talk about something that's the polar opposite of A24, and that is a big corpo superhero, Superman, possibly the biggest corporate superhero of all time. But this is Superwoman, and I believe I talked about this in previous episodes of our stream with the new Superman series, or I should say the current Superman series. I stopped. I'm gonna get to showing off the book soon, but just a brief reminder that I was reading Superman. It was like my favorite book last year, and then I stopped reading it because they did that Brainiac crossover, and then they did the big event for Absolute Power, which I forget. Abby, did you read Absolute Power?
We're getting there.
Okay, you're getting there. All right.
I'm a few weeks behind, so I'm
Okay.
I don't know the fallout of that, but I've been reading
Well,
the books.
then you better plug your ears while we talk about this comic.
Oh, I already read it.
Oh, you did?
I
Oh,
did.
okay. Well, good. Then you could talk about it too,
Yeah.
because there's some spoiler alerts for Absolute Power in here.
Yep.
But long story short, I was like not going to really read any of the new Superman series because I thought after the event I'm just done. But I decided to read the first issue after the event, and it turns out it was really good. Now I'm back in, and the new status quo in Superman is that Lois Lane, Superman Clark Kent's wife, now also has powers, Superman's powers, and so she's Superwoman. And this is
Can I first talk about how awkward this pose is? I'm sorry.
it's an interesting pose. It's not something that strikes me as like a traditional Superman pose.
Like if it was turned a bit more, I could understand like her landing down, but
I wonder if it's a reference to like a classic cover or not. I don't
maybe.
know.
I don't know. Sorry to go off your flow.
That's okay. So this is written by Josh Williamson, and I forget the artist's name.
Edward something. Susie was ranting.
Susie, our good friend Susie is like best friends with him apparently, and it should be right in there.
Yep.
Edwin Gallman. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a good looking book. I think one of the things I like about the new Superman series is that they have had really, really good artists on the series. You're just Facebook friends, huh? Yeah, I'll bet. I'm Facebook friends with. I guess I'm not Facebook friends with anybody. But getting back to Superman. one of the things that I liked about this story is, in many ways, it's kind of just a summation of the events of Absolute Power, but it's also a character study because it kind of just gets into how Lois Lane is feeling about the whole situation. I'm Facebook friends with Alex. That's correct. But what I liked about this was it kind of reinforced this notion that I don't need to read Absolute Power because all the relevant information to the Superman series is all in this. And I'm just like, okay, I don't even feel like I need to go back and to like catch up to figure out what happened. It's all just, a rumph. I'm Facebook friends with a lot of people. Okay, gosh. I just don't like to name drop. I'm not like Susie, who's just constantly bragging about all my famous friends that I know on Facebook. I have a little more class than that. But
wow.
I'll
Susie, type that in the chat too.
I'll mention that to my good friend Mark Wade next time we're chatting on the direct messenger, the Facebook. Yeah. I really liked this the Superwoman special. I really like the new dynamic of Lois Lane having superpowers and them basically being a literal power couple. Abby, I've been talking a lot about this. Did you like it? You said you read it.
I did. I liked it. I don't know if I'll buy it because I'm not the Superman reader. You are. I'm the Batman reader.
That's true. Yeah.
Susie did mention her friend. This was her favorite. Whatever. I don't.
His favorite page. It's a really good looking pinup. It's like classic. I always liked the Clark and Lois dynamic, and it just looks really good.
So it jumps back and forth a bit from when she figures out her powers to telling Clark to what she did in Absolute Power.
Mm-hmm.
So it did like that you didn't really have to read Absolute Power to know why she's Superwoman, because it tells you that, that happened. She's explaining it in the dialogue and in her trying to figure out how to write her own story, which is kind of the premise of what this is she forgot how to write a story since she's now editor-in-chief, and that's what this first page is, because there's all the corny starts of how to start something. Yeah. But then she's kind of hang out with Kara, and sadly I don't know Superman, so I don't know who she was.
Superman has like a huge supporting cast now, but Supergirl is one of them, and that the other one there is the other Superwoman, I believe, she's not been in the regular Superman series. She's been in Action Comics and probably something else. So I haven't really paid attention to her either.
Because at first I thought this was Power Girl and her roommate, who was also blonde and auburn hair. And I was like, oh wait, no, they called her Kara. And so I was like, damn it, different people.
yeah, exactly. Susie keeps her Facebook friends tight. She's not Mr. 4K Facebook friends over here. And most of them are probably fake accounts from India, though, to be fair. I boost my numbers, so that I can sell ad space. It's a really good comic. I think the key thing about it, too, is it's not just like an info dump or an exposition dump. It's done really well as a character study. So, like, you kind of feel the events happened in the event, like in the event story, where it's like this, which is the reason I don't read a lot of event crossovers, because they feel like a lot of the character moments get lost in those, because it's just got to hit all the big, like this happens, then this happens, then this happens, and there's a million characters that they have to do. And so it feels less like a story to me and more like a Wikipedia entry. When you read an event, I haven't read Absolute Power, so I can't say that that's what it felt like. But
I don't. What I've read, which is like the Task Force 7, you don't have to read it. It's kind of boring and weird. I feel like you can just read the main stories and get the feel for it.
Right.
I did read Night Terrors because it was.
It was horror. It was horror Batman.
Of course, I'm gonna read it, and I did like that one, but I kind of regret buying Absolute Power. But I have like the fear of like, oh no, there's gonna be some information, new thing that's gonna happen in there. But the books that follow it are always going to talk about it.
And that's kind of like the FOMO feeling that a lot of comics prey on, especially events, which is why, like I skipped Absolute Power, and I didn't even read the 3 Superman-ish tie-in issues yet.
It had Zatanna in it, though.
Oh, so I did read that first issue, and that was, which I appreciate that Zatanna was in it, because I like Zatanna too. I know she's a big fan of yours.
The Dark Justice League.
Yeah.
Was in there.
Why is Uncanny X-Men crossing over with X-Men? I refuse to buy more fine Marvel comics.
I'll talk about it.
Well, that's funny that you bring that up. Let's talk about some X-Men.
Woo! Get to hear it all.
All right.
So it started in this issue last week.
So it is
X-Men.
it is a crossover though, because I like.
So it's a crossover between
the two.
X-Men and Uncanny X-Men.
You know, I have to say, out of everything, the X-Men books are kind of. I hate to like totally put it on them, but they kind of started the whole inter-book crossover thing.
Because they do it like 2 times a year.
They do it all the time, but I
So,
mean, like legitimately in the history of comic books, the X-Men, it was when they were doing X-Men, I think it was the Inferno crossover in the 80s, which, you know, Madeline Pryor, we all love Madeline Pryor, especially in the X-Men 97 episode. But Susie knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, like they're the ones that started kind of with the like X-Men, New Mutants, X Factor, and Thor was a part of it too. And so it's like the story just ran through like 5 issues in that month, and it was so successful that since then pretty much every comic book does it all the time now. So X-Men, it's like I'm really frustrated that they are doing this, and I've actually stopped reading the current X-Men books like a month or so ago.
But I'm gonna try to sell you on it.
Okay,
So,
sell me on it, because I'm a big X-Men fan, but
Yeah.
like Spider-Man, I'm like a little bit of a jilted X-Men lover.
Spider-Man has too many friends.
Okay.
I do like the Marvel. I do agree with you that they do it like 2 times a year because they did the Blood Hunt thing. Now they're doing the whole Venom thing where they have
the Venom War, and
I don't care. All I know is I've shelved way too many tie-ins for that, and I'm frustrated. But this actually is pretty good.
So this you like this? Is it just the 2 issues, or does it continue into?
It's part of 4.
Okay,
so
it's 4 issue series.
and they're gonna go back and forth between them.
Okay, but it's not going to go into like X Force or X Factor. Okay,
just these 2.
well that's okay.
So
All
what
right.
the whole premise is that you might have missed is there's now 2 X-Men groups. X-Men that is run by, Blood Hunt.
Yeah.
What is run by Cyclops? It has like Magic, Temper, Juggernaut. It has a lot of other kind of a bit of side characters into it. I know you read the first issue.
Yeah.
But then there's what they call the Louisiana X-Men, which is this side, which has Wolverine, and it has Rogue, it has Gambit, and now it has Nightcrawler too, which I've fallen in love. I never really liked Nightcrawler before, I didn't know, but I love him in the comics. There's also new X-Men, so I feel like the Louisiana ones are the ones that are kind of doing the premise of Charles Xavier and kind of getting in new X-Men before this whole government thing can snatch them up. And that's the focus of Uncanny. The focus of X-Men is more about still going on missions and solving problems, that sort of thing. And right now, the premise that started on X-Men, in X-Men 8, is the first one on this. I can't even say the word.
It's Gray Malkin.
There you go.
That is where
The
Charles
original-
Xavier's mansion is, on Gray Malkin Lane in
now
Westchester, New York.
Yeah, it is now run by the government kind of thing.
They took it over and turned it into like a prison.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they sent a team out to grab some of the new X-Men in Uncanny that are in Louisiana. They took them to New York, and now both teams are converging on the raid because they also took Beast during a raid as well,
Okay.
which is very similar to the manga because they also apprehended Beast.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's like the whole first season of the
Yes.
animated series. Beast is in jail.
They did that again. That's why I told you earlier that this is giving that manga vibe.
Okay.
Because
I gotcha
they're
now.
raiding, Beast is captured, Jubilee is in there as well with him, and then one of the new Louisiana X-Men.
Well, I said it from the very start. Specifically Gail Simone's Uncanny X-Men feels very much like a Remember the 90s X-Men team. Like it's got Rogue, Gambit, Jubilee, Wolverine, Nightcrawler. Admittedly, Nightcrawler is the only one on that book who wasn't really like a big part of the X-Men team in the early 90s because he was headlining the Excalibur series. But Nightcrawler is also like fan favorite X. I would put him in like possibly top 3 of it, especially if you don't count Wolverine, because I feel like it's not fair to count Wolverine of like who's your favorite X-Men.
Or Deadpool. So I really am enjoying this because you get to see them converge and kind of rival a little bit.
Uh-huh.
How Cyclops is kind of being controlling, and then Rogue is saying that my team is more like a family. Isn't your team like a family too? And he's saying no. But this is the newest issue, which is Uncanny. They are commencing the raid, and they are fighting, kind of thing. I love magic, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Juggernaut is in there too, so it's really cool. I just get that feel of that classic.
Feels like classic X-Men.
Yeah, from what I've been told.
All right, Alex. I'll skip your last comment, but it's out there for anybody that wants to read it.
It is really good, and there is also hinting at the next thing, kind of that's going on with this guy right here. And there's like a page of, oh my god, it's a secret. Who's in there? Is it Charles Xavier? I don't know which page it's on, but yes.
So you really liked these two issues, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I really like the X-Men run. Especially Uncanny.
Have you been reading both series so far?
I've been reading all of them so far.
Oh, okay.
So I have been reading both series. X-Men 1, I'm mostly there for Magic and for Psylocke.
Okay.
They're pretty okay. They can get kind of boring and dense, and it takes a while for like the story arc to continue. Where in Uncanny, I feel like it's a much quicker pace.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Just real quick, I just want to clarify, because Alex, you were talking about events in the chat, and I just want to clarify. There's a difference between like a summer event series and just like this old fashioned crossover, because like they had done event like miniseries before, like Secret War and Crisis on Infinite Earths. Those were like kind of the first ones to really do that, where it was just like a prestige 12-issue maxi series. But those were their own thing. Like they didn't really interrupt the regular X-Men series or Spider-Man or Captain America series. I mean, the DC Crisis did interrupt all the series in the sense that it ended them all and then they were all restarted. But X-Men is the one that set the precedent with, I believe it was Inferno, or maybe it was Fall of the Mutants that was the first one. I'm actually losing track of my crossovers, but they're the ones that set the precedent that it wasn't like it wasn't its own series, like it's like Secret Wars 1 through 12. It was just, you had to read this issue of X-Men, and then you had to read this issue of X-Factor, and then you had to read this issue of Thor, or you wouldn't be able to follow the story. And that was kind of the first time that had ever been done. Like if you read Green Lantern, you would never have to read another book to follow Green Lantern. And then like everybody picked it up, and by the 90s, that was like the standard for every comic book series. It was running through 5 monthly books.
What I did like when you talk about that, how you had to read that one and that one. There is like a little catch up in the first few pages of what went on in this book.
Okay.
And there even have some panels that are almost exactly the same, where they have like dropped in, and Rogue is just being like, "You're so slow. Get on the level." Where
Does she actually say get on the level, or is that just you?
No, that's me.
Okay.
One of these panels, which is almost exactly one of the later panels as well, where she drops in right here. There's one panel that's like that later on.
Well, I will say, even though I haven't read them, just like looking at them right now, like as you flip through them, it does look like classic X-Men comics to me. So there's that going for it. So
it's really good.
I might
maybe read it. I don't know about that.
I already stopped reading. Like I don't want this Superman all over again. Where I said I was gonna stop reading, I'm gonna start reading it again. But we'll see what happens. Okay, I've got one more book left to talk about.
Right. I got nothing.
You got nothing? Oh, well then we'll end it on this. This crossover is going to make you drop Uncanny.
No!
Oh, well, Abby says it's really good. So.
I like it.
So I have one more book coming out tomorrow. That's a number 1. That's maybe a little bit worth talking about. Is Ultimate Universe number 1. This is the first appearance of. I don't think this is a secret. I hope I'm not spoiling anything. You can tell from the cover. It's the first appearance of Ultimate Nick Fury, and this is a cover that is kind of a homage or a tribute to a classic Jim Steranko Nick Fury comic cover from the 60s, and it's a really good cover. And I also really like that this is the classic Nick Fury that's in the new Ultimate Universe.
Also, these panels are about the Ultimate series that are out. This is Ultimate Black Panther, and that's Ultimate X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
And
kinda
Ultimate
cool.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the Ultimates.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really really cool cover, and this is a one like a one shot, just like kind of just a single story. It's the 1 year in kind of marker because they did an Ultimate Universe at the beginning of it as a one shot,
And like Ultimate Invasion too.
yeah, well, that was a 4-issue series, and then they did the Ultimate Universe series, which kind of just set up a lot of the other series. But so I did read this whole issue. It looks really good. First of all, that's the one thing I can say about these Ultimate books. I haven't really been following them, but most of them are really really good looking, and this story is told from Nick Fury's perspective, and I just really like the way they present him.
Just like the duck.
Oh yeah, and there's some nice little Easter eggs here. That's Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
And also Omega the Unknown is shown in prison there. So some deep cut like Bronze Age Marvel characters for you. Not the Ultimate Nick Fury. Well, that's what's so funny about it is because like for the long. This new Ultimate Universe is really tripping me up because for the longest time, Ultimate Nick Fury was Sam Jackson. You haven't been reading Ultimate Spidey. I stopped after like 3 or 4 issues of Ultimate Spidey. But the one thing I've said about Ultimate Spidey is that at least it's like the version of Spider-Man that, in my opinion, should be the classic Spider-Man in the regular Marvel Universe. And now he's the Ultimate Universe version. There's this weird inversion where Miles Morales, who previously was the Ultimate Spider-Man, is now the regular Spider-Man. And the classic Peter Parker dad Spider-Man is the Ultimate Spider-Man. It's weird. Kind of a similar thing going on with Nick Fury. With the classic version showing up in this issue, and I won't spoil. There's kind of a twist ending, which I won't spoil, but it gives a nice it's just a nice little one shot story about it's very much so the classic version of Nick Fury. Like he fought in World War II, and then he kind of got sucked into this like new world that the Maker created, and it's good. It's actually pretty good. I might even go so far as to say it was really good. I just can't get invested in it because I'm not reading these Ultimate Universe books, but it did feel like a classic Nick Fury, which I did really appreciate, and I can't help but kind of chuckle at this weird world we live in where the new Ultimate Universe is where you go for the classic versions of the characters. What are my picks for the week? That's tough because I haven't had a chance to really read everything.
Both.
I mean, my favorite that I read all the way through is probably the Superwoman special, but it's probably the people need to know. It's definitely I take that back.
It's too many.
I mean, it would be cheating if I picked Captain America facsimile, right? Wouldn't that be cheating? It's a toss up between Transformers, of course, or the Conan Battle of the Blackstone, because I really, really, really am enjoying this series. It's very pulpy. I haven't talked, I think, enough about it, but it's like a crossover between all of the Robert Howard characters. So it's not just Conan. It's really, really good. All right, Abby, what's your pick?
Has to be all the ones that have serial killers in them.
Although that's like every book on your list.
Yep. So I loved the Batman Dark Patterns. I just love classic Batman, basically, where he's detectiving. He's not off in the other worlds doing Justice League stuff, but when he's at home fighting his rogues and not doing crime, but catching criminals.
Catching criminals.
And
maybe doing a little
his-
bit of crime on
And
the
just
side.
using his brain and everything. I also loved In Bloom because I love indies, and I just love the mushrooms. I love my.
I feel like neither of us understand the concept behind pick of the week.
No.
I guess we don't. I guess there's nothing inherent that we have to
multiple.
pick. They have to have one.
Dull parts.
Dull parts. Yeah, it's my
City
Detective Batman is best Batman. Yes, we are all in agreement on that.
The distillery. I love
Yeah, Distilleries. Good stuff.
I'm still super excited about Two-Face though too.
Yeah,
Can I just?
but that didn't come out this week.
I know, but so you'll read it. It's amazing.
I'll give it a read. Okay. Pick one. Yeah, I know. I can't. There's just too many good comics out there.
It's
you
like
know?
saying pick your favorite book.
Yeah, or
There's
pick
like 5.
your favorite child.
Artist. Child.
All right. On that note, for content, you must pick one. Well, I told you, Conan, Battle of Blackstone. I just bagged and boarded all my
Batman.
comics while watching. Hey, all right, Cicada. Yeah. Pick my favorite cat. It's definitely Cicada.
Really? It's not Magrat?
Magrat is mean to me.
Oh.
She won't let me pet her. So yeah, I hold grudges. I only have one child, so I choose her. Well, that's just cheating. That's cheating more than us picking 5 comics. Okay, I think we're gonna end it here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Like I said, there's so many comics out there. It's so hard to pick one, so you just got to come in here and buy them all. If you can't get them from us here at Fantasy Books and Games, you should get them from somewhere. But you should try to come in here because you can talk to me and Abby and everybody else about comics. Because we, as you can tell, we love talking comics. So yeah, Abby, do you have any parting words of wisdom for anybody?
Don't do crime. I don't know.
All right, bye.
Bye.